Hello, everyone. I've got James Ding, who is one of the co-founders of DraftWise. And we'll be talking today a little bit about what DraftWise has achieved in the past year, an important milestones set for 2025, and also what you can expect from the team at Future Law UK. So I would like to start with a quick introduction by you, James. Can you please let us know a little bit more about DraftWise and of course yourself?
Sure. Hi, thanks for having me. So DraftWise, we've been around for about 5 years. We sell primarily to large law firms. And what we do is we help them use their precedent to draft and review and negotiate contracts. So very much focused on transactional law. And my own background, I'm one of the founders of DraftWise, founder and CEO. Before DraftWise, I used to work at Palantir Technologies where I led AI products. While I have no background in law, I've learned a lot and have been able to try to bridge the gap between AI, technology, data, and law by filling in the pieces that are on the technology side.
I know, James, that you guys are three co-founders, from what I remember. What part of the responsibilities fall onto you personally?
Sure. I spend a lot of my time thinking about what is it that we can use technology to do in service of users. So I spend a lot of time talking to customers, obsessing about the user experience, and thinking about how do we take our unique worldview, which is that we believe uniquely that using precedent delivers better contract outcomes, and apply it to the workflows in this space, to the available technology in this space. And that's actually a thing that I believe for a long time. It's just taken different words. Before it was data-driven applications yield better decisions. Using data in your day-to-day workflow creates leverage for your organization. So the unique angle we have here is a theme I'm familiar with, a theme that many of my teammates, including my co-founder, Emre, who is CTO, and also from Palantir, is familiar with.
And I know that you guys have done exceptionally well in capturing big firms in the market. I'm personally familiar with several of them across the East Coast and also here in the UK. What sets DraftWise apart from its competitors, and how have you been able to win in such a competitive market so many of those big law leaders?
Yeah, I'm incredibly proud of the work that we do. We work with the majority of the Vol 10 firms across the US and UK. The things that set DraftWise apart, I think, are our mission, our approach, and our focus. So our mission is to be the foundation for intelligent contract drafting review. Taking the best practices that a firm has, taking all the things you know about a client, and putting both of those things in the hands of every lawyer when they actually work on the contract, when they draft and review it. So that the insight is that we think that if you use precedent in the process, you're just going to produce better work product. And we have the deepest utilization of precedent in legal AI. In terms of focus, we also try to excel at doing one thing, as opposed to an approach that others may take, where you could spread yourself thin with legal research, with summarization, with drafting emails, with drafting clauses. But instead, what we do is we focus at excelling at just one thing, which is the transactional work related to drafting, reviewing, and understanding contracts. I think also a big part of our success today has been an exceptional team. Really great lawyers that we have on the team, really great technical talent.
Would you say that bringing those talented lawyers and people that have been legally trained in the room and also as part of the conversations with some of those big law firms has helped essentially translate those conversations into actual customers and deals?
That's exactly right. I go as far as to say it'd be impossible to succeed without those people in the room helping you translate. One of our core values as a company and as a product organization is to hold ourselves accountable for our customers' outcomes. Your goal is that you want to get more leverage from your junior associates, or you want to help a private equity client turn over their NDAs faster so they can get the deal done faster. We don't hold our mission as getting you software and letting you do whatever you want with it. Our mission is to actually help you achieve those goals, turn around deals 20% faster, so that next time you work with that private equity client, you can actually measure the difference. And I think having lawyers on the team is essential for that.
Sounds great. And you've mentioned that you guys work with most of the top 10 law firms in the country. Are you able to share with us some of your biggest customer wins in 2024?
Sure. I think we had a really busy and exciting 2024 global expansion across major firms in the ES, EU, Canada, and Australia. If you look at our website and if you're familiar with the Seven Sisters firms, you'll see that we're working with a majority of them um, and can speak to many of them publicly. We're working with a few of the top five revenue generating law firms in the US. We've achieved critical vendor status with some of them, meaning they consider our software so important that they cannot conduct ordinary course of business without it. We're also working with a number of the Fortune 100 now. Even though we're laser focused on the pain points that we know about that law firms suffer, many large, complex organizations actually suffer those problems too. Many of them have a team that looks like a law firm working within their walls that does this kind of work, and we've organically grown into those areas.
And I know for a fact that with a lot of those large law firms, what commonly happens is that they'll bring several solutions to test in parallel, sometimes over um, even a couple of years. Like, have your experience been that, as you say, you've been the critical solution of choice? Have you found yourself the winner at the end of that evaluation period with a lot of those firms?
Yeah, we've done very well in head-to-heads or in these kind of broad sweeps. And I think the reason for that is because we solve a clear, focused problem that people suffer that's easy to measure, as opposed to a generalist technology. We were working with a Fortune 100 organization. They actually put it together a systematic trial of 12 different pieces of AI software and ended up choosing us as the only vendor in that process to move forward with. And now they're rolling out to hundreds of lawyers.
Would you label yourself more of a generalist too, or more of a scalpel?
Somewhere in between. I like to think that we eat the whole pie when it comes to contract drafting, review, negotiation, advising transactional clients. I mean, the heart of transactional work is the contract, producing it, negotiating it, advising your clients about it. And I think that that is the pie that we're focused on. So I would say, you know, we're the entire surgical box, but we only do heart surgery. We don't try to dabble in pediatrics or something else.
Sounds good. Can you tell us about um, a standout feature that you guys introduced in the last year, and the feedback that has really positively overwhelmed you from your customers?
Definitely. I'll talk about some of the standout features that have gotten great reception to in the past year have been within the SmartDraft product of our platform. So SmartDraft is a capability that combines the ease of ChatGPT, where you can talk to it natural language, where you can, um, very low barrier to entry, but it combines it with the credibility of the actual work product that your firm has done. Not only the work product, but also the best practices, guidance notes, and any other work of a knowledge team if you have it. So SmartDraft, ease of ChatGPT with the credibility of your actual work. We have a feature within SmartDraft called the Find Similar Language capability. It's a unique capability on the market that helps you find similar clauses across documents. We had a partner at a top 20 law firm say that the 5 minutes they spent using our feature were the most valuable 5 minutes they've ever served for their client. And it's actually a really, really interesting feature from a technical perspective, too. What you can do is you can look at any clause you're negotiating and say, I want to find places where we had a similar starting position, and I want to see what the negotiation went to in the next turnaround. And then suddenly it becomes like a menu for you to pick from. You can look at the tactics your teammates have used. You can look at the tactics that you yourself have used and really easily incorporate them.
And what are the exciting feature releases that you've got coming up this year that you are personally looking forward to?
Oh, we've got a lot. So I think the most exciting one is Markup. We've been incubating Markup for 6 months with early access customers, and we're on the verge of releasing it, starting this week and over the next few weeks. Markup is a contract review solution, and it's the only contract review solution that helps you leverage your precedent and your past negotiations so that you can produce really customized contract review on behalf of your clients, but without a lot of heavy upfront investment. So it's a perfect balance between tailoring to the needs of your client, but getting leverage from software to do so. So it doesn't require a lot of manual effort with prompt engineering or with playbooks or writing rules.
And apart from all those larger law firms, are you seeing potential expansion into in-house legal teams with the product in the future?
Definitely. So in 2024, we saw a lot of organic growth among both in-house legal teams and mid-sized law firms. And the reason for this is because we've been laser focused on solving problems, specific problems that our customers faced, and that these two market segments, mid-sized firms, often regional leaders, as well as certain in-house organizations, they also suffer those problems. If you look at like a Fortune 10 company, many of them do their own M&A. In fact, many of them do the contracting for their M&A work as well. So that in a way, they have an M&A practice. Our software is considered mission critical for some of the best M&A teams in the world. So we know a little bit or two about the pain points that people suffer when doing M&A legal work. Turns out those are pain points that resonate with Fortune 10 customers who do M&A as well. So that's kind of how the expansion happened. And the line that we're drawing is we remain focused on these problems because only by being focused can you deeply solve it in a way that actually solves the problem that makes a difference. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at who else suffers these problems and offer them too. What that means is we're expanding. We've doubled the size of our London team just over the past couple of months to serve EU markets. And we started serving in-house organizations that face the same challenges that our existing customers do.
Would you say the challenges in UK and in Europe differ to the ones in the US?
Yeah, I would say so. And that's because the way that I look at transactional law is that they facilitate complex deals that businesses undergo. And the kind of business that you see in many European countries is different than the kind of business that you see in the US. Just the size of companies, just the kind of transactions they undergo, the industries they work in. So for that reason, they are somewhat different. That being said, many of the problems are adjacent, or many of the problems are similar, or are ones that our solution is well suited for. And the same could be true about Canada and Australia too. Just the nature of the business they facilitate is different, so the nature of the legal work is different. I think a lot of outsiders to this space think that because you're working on a contract, the work must be very similar between one practice and another. But like even within M&A, the kind of work you do on a public target M&A is like very different. The things you care about, the things you don't care about, very different between public target and private target.
And, who are you looking forward to meeting at Future Lawyer in April? Who are the type of personas and type of organizations that you're excited to engage with during the conference?
Yeah, I think the most exciting thing and the thing that I've really benefited from in prior Future Lawyer conferences is just meeting people who have experience, who want to talk, law firms, in-house legal teams. Almost all of the ideas that we have come through collaboration with our customers and with, other people out there who aren't customers of ours who are suffering problems. I think the important thing to obsess about is the user and their problems, as opposed to your solution or what AI can do. I think that the conference, especially the Future Lawyer conference and its format, lends itself really well for that kind of conversation.
Thank you for that. And one last question before we wrap up. Looking ahead, what's DraftWise's vision for the future in terms of product innovation and in terms of market expansion?
There's massive depth still in what we can do. Now, I've told you again that the story, one of the themes that I've talked about throughout today was focus. Focus about transactional law, obsessing about the pain points the users suffer. We've only scratched the tip of the iceberg for what AI, data, and better user experience can do for the practice of the work. So as opposed to setting our eyes on other sectors, other practices, we're going to focus on where we do well and capture that depth of value that's possible. And I think that with that comes a lot of product innovation. And I think you're going to see a lot of really innovative stuff that doesn't exist elsewhere, just by virtue of the fact that we remain laser focused on a space. Whereas in contrast, most others are just asking the question, what tasks is AI good for? And therefore, we should have a feature that does that one thing. So we're not, because of our focus, we're going to look very different and continue to look more different over time compared to other vendors out there. In terms of what DraftWise looks like, we've doubled the size of our London team. We're going to continue growing the size of our London team and our US team and our global team. And we're going to have to scale to serve the growing demand from mid-sized firms and from in-house legal organizations alongside our core audience of law firms. So the team itself will have to grow, we'll have to scale, we'll have to learn. I think that's incredibly exciting.
It is exciting indeed. And just before we started the recording, you've mentioned that you're going to be present at several conferences throughout March, not just our conference in Relate. You can just tell our viewers and listeners where they can meet you over the next few weeks.
Yep. So we'll be at, the big one is Legal Week. I think it's one of the biggest conferences in the first half of the year. We'll be there. We have a lot of our own events. We have a lot of places and forums where you can meet our users as well as our engineers directly. And, sometimes you want to talk to a salesperson, but sometimes hearing it from a user's voice or from the person who builds it can be more enlightening. So I think that we'll be there. You should find us there. We're attending a number of practice insight conferences, across the US. We'll be in London. We'll be, if chances are, if you're going to a legal tech conference this year, we'll be there too.
That's great to hear, James. And just for our listeners and viewers, we're going to tag James on this post. So if you'd like to contact James directly, please add him on LinkedIn, and you'll be able to hopefully engage with him and see maybe whether you can do a demo of DraftWise. For everyone else, we look forward to having James and his team at Future Law UK, and we look forward to initiating a lot of fruitful conversation between James and our audience. Thank you very much for participating, James, and
Thanks for having me. It's been amazing.